here with Grant. He did some observation hours tonight, and I was going to ask me a few questions. I feel super important.
All right, question 1. What is your email?
What is my email? That's a tough one. What's it for? Just if
I need background information a little bit.
Go ahead and just go Justin at liftlabco.com.
All right, sweet.
I'm going to get an email from somebody from Purdue. Did Grant really do his observation hours?
You might get an email from Jen.
Jen
Fetcher. All right, real question 1. What qualifications are required for someone in your position, like degrees, licenses?
Right now, typically like a exercise science degree or something related, like exercise science, kinesiology, some sort of like health and fitness related degree, bachelor's degree, and then also having some sort of certification. So there's personal training certifications, and then there's strength and conditioning certifications. Sometimes some people in my position, like if they're just a powerlifting coach, they actually don't need a college degree, and you actually don't need a college degree to be a personal trainer. You can there's some certifications out there that you can get without a college degree, but you basically have to be certified.
Right. So no college degree required, but recommended usually.
Yeah, highly recommended, I would say.
All caps. What do some of your job responsibilities include?
Biggest
Mostly
priority.
mopping and
Yeah, just all janitorial work. Mainly coaching clients, coaching athletes, and then programming for those athletes. Those are the two main ones. And then one thing that kind of goes on behind the scenes that a lot of people don't realize is a lot of like client reach out. So just always reaching out to clients, either like new ones, former ones, or ones you currently have. Just like if they haven't showed up in 2 weeks, you need to reach out to them and be like, hey, haven't seen you in a couple weeks, just was curious about you, what's going on. And then even small stuff, if people are going through injuries, like texting them every now and then, seeing how things are going. And then working for a small business, some responsibilities also include like bringing new clients in, is doing assessments, like potential or leads. We get a list of leads through Facebook ads and reaching out to those, and just people that might message.
Leads come in from like when people like click like I'm interested.
They might click on ads, or they might click on our Facebook and inquire about an assessment, or they click on our website and we get emails and information that way. So reaching out to them, seeing what they're looking for, what their goals are, and then getting them into the gym for an assessment. Those are the big responsibilities.
Alright. What are some of the positive and negative aspects of the job?
We'll go positive aspects of the job first. Me personally, I like the interpersonal communication. Like you're working with people, so you get to know people a little bit more like deeply, you can say. So you kind of get to create a little bit more relationships than you would at a normal job. So like if you go to work at like a corporate business, you might see just like your own like the people you work with, but you don't get to build as many relationships outside of that. So coaching, you get to build a lot of meaningful relationships, and I've always enjoyed sports and athletics and got like curious about the human body. So you always get to kind of work in that setting, and you kind of get to experiment with things. And like, because the gym, I mean, Lift Lab is the name, but a gym is kind of like your own lab, and you get to kind of see how things work and experiment with things as far as human performance goes. You also get to wear sweatpants all the time. That's a plus. I also like the kind of like split shifts, like a normal job you go in from 9 to 5. This kind of job, you might be here for a few hours training people, you get a break. Might be here for another few hours, get a break.
Like today.
So today I coached some people,
trained.
had a little bit of free time, trained, and then coached some people, and now we're here. So I like kind of the split shift. Negative aspects is like clients don't care how you feel. So if you're having a bad day, like you don't get to let that affect your training session with the client. So you kind of have to, like if you're having a shitty day, you just you kind of have to just put that on the back burner. So that can be difficult. Some other negative aspects of the job.
Dan sucks.
Sometimes you can get in the habit of working too much, and that can, this is one thing I've kind of just realized in the past like 6 months is if you are coaching too much, you can actually see that like how that affects your coaching and how that affects like the people you're working with. So if you're just working too much and you're too run down, like that's going to have a negative impact on how you coach. So I think it's important to realize that and be aware of that so you can stop doing that.
So
Yeah. Another negative aspect is typically my role or somebody in a job like mine is typically not a high paying job. But with that being said, the fitness industry, like there's multiple billions of dollars spent on gym memberships a year. So there's money in the industry. I think it's just you have to learn how to monetize that and make money off that if that is your goal. But if your goal, like out of college, is to make a lot of money, this is not one of the roles that you're going to automatically make a lot of money.
right.
So you kind of have to get creative with how you want to do that because it's not as simple as I'm going to put in 8 hours and I'm going to get a lot of money in return for those 8 hours.
Right.
See if there's any other negative aspects. Pete, if you have small screw ups with a client can like really affect them. So if you're just having one bad day and you let that affect your training session with somebody, that might affect them so deeply that they just don't want to come back. So you have to be sharp on that all the time. So basically you can't make mistakes, or you can't let those mistakes, you have to kind of almost get out in front of those mistakes before they happen. Like other jobs, you can have a few mistakes, but because it's such an interpersonal job that you, like if you make a few mistakes, somebody might leave.
Yeah.
So,
Alright, so what is the employment outlook in your field? The employment, like is the industry growing or?
Oh yeah, for sure. I'd say the industry is for sure growing. And actually I don't know if I was listening to a podcast, but it got me thinking, because people like to talk shit about some parts of the fitness industry right now, like the fit tees and like the Instagram models and like all that kind of like what you might think of as like kind of fake shit. But at the same time, people have to realize like how many people are focused on fitness, whether or not it is because of that, but how many people, because of social media definitely, are focused on fitness or fitness related stuff. Like I want to say Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is growing, Olympic weightlifting is for sure growing, powerlifting is growing. I'd like to say the amount of people working out is actually increased. I think the industry is for sure growing. I think there's just more garbage information out there. and people don't know what to do with that. So it's like my job to get as much quality information out and basically fill the field or the industry with that. But we also have to take a step back and realize there's probably no other time than now that as many people are paying attention to fitness or fitness related stuff. That's the reason why the fit teas and detox supplements are so huge, because so many people are paying attention to, people want to get healthier and want to lose weight. They might want the easy way out, but there's so many people focused on that type of stuff right now, so they can sell garbage stuff to people.
Right. Yeah. So, yeah, good deal. So more job opportunities than maybe there used to be, since more people are looking out for trainers and stuff.
I think there's a bigger opportunity to create something new and big within the industry that you could potentially monetize. I don't know if necessarily I would say there's definitely probably more trainers now, and then there's 100% for sure more people doing online stuff, selling products or selling their coaching services, which some might be bad, some might be good, but that wasn't the question. So I think there is definitely more opportunity out there now than there was 10 years ago.
Question number 5 now. You touched on this earlier, but what type of a salary could a starting employee expect in the field? What benefits, health insurance, retirement?
That depends. It depends on if you're going more of the personal training route, and in the private setting, or in the college industry. College industry right out of college, college setting right out of college, you might just be doing unpaid internships for a few years, so your salary would be nothing. But let's say you go into the private industry, I would say your salary could be anywhere between $20,000 to $40,000 the first year or two. After that, you might have the opportunity to make more.
And then, if you're, like you said, if you're doing an internship thing, there's a couple years where you're just not.
Yeah, so if you want to get into the college setting, the college strength and conditioning industry, you might be doing 2 to 3 years out of college of nothing but internships. Then the step after that would be getting a graduate assistantship, which is 2 years, and then you're getting paid for your master's degree, your master's schooling. You're getting that paid for. And you get you might get $1,000 stipend every month, and then after that, the next step would be an assistant role, and you could be making anywhere from, again, $20,000 to $40,000 or $50,000. I'd say your first assistant role there's no way it'd be over $50,000. That's my guess. And then as far as benefits, I don't know. I've never really worked in the corporate fitness setting, so I don't know. But I'd like to guess that if you're a personal trainer at a Lifetime Fitness, they probably have some pretty decent health insurance benefits. If you're working for a small business like I am, usually there's not really any benefits. You kind of have to go out and get those on your own. Basically, if you want to have a very secure job that makes you feel comfortable out of college, don't get into this.
Great.
Just being honest.
Yeah, no, I expect it. How do you, you kind of mentioned this earlier, but how would you describe your typical work environment? And then quote, it says, office, gym, required attire, normal hours, travel expectations.
Okay, go over that again.
How would you describe your typical work environment? You work in an office, work in a gym, what kind of, you said you wear sweatpants, whatever. Do you ever have to travel? I mean, I know, obviously, if you're doing more weightlifting, or if you coach national powerlifters, you have to travel for it.
Yeah, so my work environment right now is about, let's see, could be around about 6 hours a day, 5 to 6 hours a day training people, and then about 2 hours a day outside of that doing more administrative type work, which might be reaching out to, following up with leads, potential people that are interested in training, creating content for a website or social media, doing janitorial work. If a small business doesn't want to hire their own, like a janitorial service, we as a staff have to do that. Which it's when you have 5 people helping you, it's not that bad at all. And then I get to wear sweatpants all the time. And right now I don't have to travel.
You
but
do have to go to those parents' houses.
Yeah, right now I do personal training at I commute to somebody's house, and that's just one time a week right now.
No travel, save for outsourced personal training.
But like coaching Olympic weightlifters or powerlifters, you have to travel to those meets as well.
Yeah, that suffices for that. All right. Describe your career path leading up to this job. Like, what types of jobs did you go through before you got here, and what was the biggest challenge you faced thus far in your career?
Okay. So last semester of college, we had to do a 500-hour internship. So I did an internship in the private setting for January, February, March, 4 months. And I was working probably 40 to 45 hours a week there. Then I graduated, did an internship with the Ball State football strength and conditioning staff. Worked about 60 hours there, and again, you're not getting paid anything. But that was a phenomenal experience. Did that for 3 months. Then I started coaching part-time in the private setting and interning still with the Ball State football team during their actual football season. I only went there 2 days a week. Then I did that for another few months, and then started coaching full-time in the private setting. And then that's essentially where I'm still at now. Like, I'm still a strength and conditioning coach in the private sector, working probably less hours now than I currently was. The biggest what was the question? The hardest?
Biggest challenge.
The biggest challenge I would say is easily, really trying to find out what I want to do and what I want to get out of this industry, because in my experience, I've always kind of been back and forth. This is the stuff I love to do and what I want to do, but at the same time, I'm not getting paid much. So would my life be better if I just went to, what if my life was better if I worked at a desk 8 hours a day but I was getting paid more? Or, do I want to go in the high school setting? Do I want to go in the college setting? Do I want to stay in the private sector? Do I want to open my own gym? So the biggest challenge has been really trying to pinpoint where exactly I see myself in 5 years, or really what I want to do in this industry. That would probably be the biggest challenge, is figuring out what I really want to do.
All right, biggest challenge, trying to pinpoint what he wants to do in the industry. Yeah, I'm having a brain fart here. That's fine. That'll work. I can live it. Good. Who mentored you on your career path, and what suggestions do you have for someone who is considering working in the field?
Okay. I guess who has mentored me. It's really hard to say. Everyone I've met along the lines has given me quality advice. Whether they have said some things that have benefited my career, or have said some things that have not benefited my career. But I think everyone, like whether it was like a quote unquote boss or like a typical mentor role, all of them have had quality things to say or have given me advice that I've been able to use to help my career. Whether like it's something like I learned from them and learned like, hey, I should do this or think this way, or hey, that's not how I want to think, or that's not a good thing to do. And then also just the experience working with clients and athletes. That's probably the biggest. That's what's going to give you the biggest feedback, because like one of my, like this could have answered the other question, was one of my biggest challenges when I first got into this industry was connecting with clients, because that's one thing you don't ever get taught how to do in college, is having more like quote unquote emotional intelligence and how to connect with people on a little bit of a deeper level, because you can't just be like, human beings are not robots, and you can't just, hey, here's your program, this is what I want you to do, change your technique this way. Like, and Brett Bartholomew wrote a really good book, Conscious Coaching, which talks exactly about this. But like, you just have to know how to relate to certain clients. Everyone's got different personality types. So that was probably actually one of the biggest challenges right away. So that feedback you get in real time from clients and from athletes is some of the best feedback you can get in growing yourself as a coach. What other part of the question was there?
What suggestions do you have for someone considering your field?
And I think this can be said about all fields, no matter what you're doing, is be very conscious of who you're surrounding yourself with. So if you take a look at the 5 people, and this is very mainstream advice, but it's quality advice. If you take a look at the 5 people you spend your time around most, make sure those are 5 quality people that you see some things in them that you would like to see in yourself. Because if you're surrounded by people that are either going to suck energy out of you, don't appreciate you for who you are, don't value what you're bringing to the table, don't want to like elevate your quote unquote game, then those are probably people, like literally, like those are people you don't want to spend your time with, and that's going to be one of the biggest things that inhibits your growth as an individual and as a coach in the field. Another thing is, I would say, reach out and connect with as many people in the field as possible, whether that's coaches, like people that are somehow in business, gym owners, people that are connected in the field somehow, even national level Olympic weightlifters or powerlifters. In my experience, after I left my last job, and this kind of took me by surprise, everyone I reached out to, whether I kind of knew them beforehand or I just didn't know them at all.
When you left your last job?
Yeah. And I was just kind of looking to grow my perspective on kind of where I wanted to be and find another job. I reached out to people I kind of knew, kind of met before, and people like I didn't know that other people might have connected me, or people I just reached out to on a whim. Reach out to as many of those people as you can, because most people are more than willing to help somebody, and most people just want to share their experience. They love sharing their experience. So I was kind of surprised at how many people took time out of their days just to meet with me, whether I knew them or not. And that can be just super valuable, because you always gain something learning about somebody else's experience.
I still think it's kind of funny that you went from Forest to here.
Yeah.
Alright, that's it for the...
Do I get your questions now? Here we go.
I only thought of one. It's
this is gonna be garbage.
Yeah,
Then. Come on, Grant.
Shut up, man. Where's that?
Isn't it your assignment to give me 2 questions though?
Yeah. I'll think. I got it. I got this in the bag. Let me use Control X this shit. How much time do you spend programming and writing workouts, and what do you focus on? Like, what's your philosophy in your programming?
Okay, good question. How much time do I spend? Right now, not as nearly as much as I used to. I would say right now, I would say just 3 hours a week, which is probably, definitely a lot less than what I was doing.
Is that because you've gotten like better at it? More in the groove?
Actually, probably because the way I'm writing programs now is, it's kind of like it's a monthly block, but I'm writing out just 1 week at a time. So like it's probably going to be, if I write week 1 out, it's just going to be week 1. That's more than likely what they're going to do on week 2. But if I need to change some things, or take something out, add something in, tweak some things, I can always do that. And then, but if nothing changes, I just copy that, post it on the next week of training. So I'm not writing the entire block out. I'm just writing 1 week at a time.
So it's okay.
And it might be 4 hours a week, but let's just go with 3. And then what is my philosophy around programming?
Yeah, something like that. Like, what do you focus on when you're writing a program? What goes through your mind? Obviously, like athletes' goals.
Yes, the biggest thing is you have to really focus on who you're writing, the individual you're writing the program for, what their goals are, and what their weaknesses are that are keeping them from those goals, and then also giving them stuff that they also are going to enjoy doing. So I might write a perfect program for somebody, but if there's stuff on it that would be very beneficial to them, but they hate doing it, that is going to be more of a detriment than giving them something random that they enjoy doing. So my philosophy is, you really have to think about their goals, what their weaknesses are that are keeping them from those goals, and that's the biggest thing, because then you can go from there, like what the client actually needs. So if you're working with, like, what you program for an Olympic weightlifter who's competing in Olympic weightlifting is going to be vastly different from somebody who is 55 years old looking to just lose 20 pounds or has less than a year of total training experience their entire life. Those two programs are going to look so different, and what exercises I give put on those programs are going to be way different. There might be some, and there might even be some of the same exercises on both, but how I want each of those clients to perform those exercises might be different. So the biggest thing would be what a client's goals are and what their weaknesses are from getting to those goals, while keeping some juice in the program, keeping the program exciting as well.
Right. Maybe something about college.
On the spot, Grant, on the spot. Man, you had, 3 hours a night shadowing? Couldn't think of only could think of one question?
I wasn't as focused as I should have been on the question part. I was observing, man. I'll have to go back and look. If you got anything, spit it out. Maybe something about the future. What does the future hold? Because we kind of talked about that a little bit. Because you don't know.
I really hate the question, like, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
My dad asked
because not only, I hate that question because you might have what you really want to do right now. Like, so you might have, like, I really want to do this right now. So in 5 years, I see myself doing this. In 2 years, you might be completely interested in something new.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think as humans, like, we are supposed to do the same thing for 20 years. Like, there's no way somebody can keep this exact same thing exciting for 20 years. Some people might stay in the same field for 20 years, but I think their role within that field changes a lot within those 20 years.
My dad asked us all that like a couple weeks ago at dinner.
There's a question. So Sam Harris has a podcast, and sometimes he asks like rapid fire questions. And the one question, it's a good one, is what's the worst thing that has happened to you that has helped you like grow the most, but you wouldn't want to repeat again?
Absolutely, I know right off the bat. I know my answer.
Yeah.
I know. What do you know?
I don't know. It probably it would definitely. I think this has to
I
be.
might use this.
It would be getting arrested my freshman year of college.
Yeah, my freshman year of college is my answer for sure.
God
bless.
It's definitely an experience I never want to repeat again. And
all right, I'm not gonna put this in there.
That's
great though.
I definitely learned a lot from it.
That's great. What about career goals? Yeah, is that a good question?
It's a very vague question.
I know, but
career goals.
If you have any career, goals for your career, what would they be?
Okay.
I like this music.
One big career goal is making $1 million.
Like having it in the bank.
Good question. Yeah, having it in the bank. Having it in the bank. And
Justin would like would like to see a 1 with 6 zeros in the bank.
And then
$1 million is 6 zeros. Yeah.
And in 26 now, and 10 years, I'd like to not be making my income at the gym. Like, what I mean by that is I would like to be, whether it's opening my own gym and getting that to grow where I don't have to be there, or creating some sort of online entity where I could maybe work from a coffee shop, or like not actually have to train people in person. So basically, let's make that a bit more specific. Let's say in 10 years making money while not being...
Yeah, I'm writing down, you like to figure out a way to not make your money from your time in the gym. For example, he could like earn passive income from owning the gym.
So
Or writing programs online.
Making passive income where like I'm not getting paid X amount of dollars for X amount of hours I put in.
Right. Or doing online coaching monthly. Right? Yeah, that's good. Like that. Alright. That's all I got.
Think that's good? Think that's a quality interview, Grant?
No, I liked it. It was kind of hard to keep up. It was hard to keep up. I hope I can, when I go back, I'll be fine with it. Oh, crap.
All right,
Thank
folks.
you for your time.
We're done here. That's Grant.